Hey, it's Brooklyn Lou the Skeptic. I wanted to do a live just to give anyone and everyone an opportunity to chat with a real life atheist. You can be an atheist, jump into the conversation. I'm open to talk about anything, and mostly I'd like to do this for community. I'd like people to be free to express themselves. And if you jump into my live, I'm going to let you talk as much as you want to talk, and pretty much about anything as well. If I put a topic on it, I find that some people want to talk about other things anyway. So today is all about just talking, chatting, conversation. Don't need to debate anybody. If you want to debate, that's fine. But we'll find that out, because I'm just here to have friendly conversations. If you're a theist, I'd love to know what you believe, why you believe it, why you think it's the best way to think, and anything that's convinced you of your belief. Certainly would like to be open to that. And if you want to talk about any particular subject, that's fine. I've been thinking a lot lately about Christian nationalism and how it's influencing politics today and our government today in America. That's been on my mind. Been thinking about love and what all that means. So anything you'd like to talk about, the floor is yours. I will open up to anybody who wants to chat and who wants to express an opinion. I'm here for that. So I'm going to hang out quite a while. And if you want to talk, come in. Recently, I lost my tooth. And if any of you have watched me for a while, you know that I had a big old tooth that was there, and I had it since I was a child in the 4th grade. It lasted all the way till 62, but then it was coming loose, so I had it pulled. And I do have something to put on, but I can't stand it. I had this thing made. It's a fake tooth. Goes in and gives me a tooth. But if you also know me, I don't really care about how I look. But glad the tooth is out. It feels better than now that it's out. And what else is going on in the news? We had the Iran attack, the bombs that were dropped on the Iran nuclear facilities. That was in the news pretty recently. We have people being captured off the streets by ICE agents. That's pretty rough to watch for me personally. Some of these people are innocent, except for they have an illegal status as far as their immigration status. And also some American citizens have been captured and held for a few days before they were released. And one thing that amazes me is that when I watch video of it, these ICE agents come in with masks and military gear, and then they go to a woman and they hold her. And it's like, I don't understand that at all. I mean, it doesn't take 5 men with guns and weapons and masks to apprehend a little Spanish lady, you know? To me, that's over force and overuse of force. But you have any views on that? Jump in, let's talk. Till then, I'm going to drink. I'm firing up some caffeine. This one a real good one. It's called Bing. The taste of this is incredible. Tastes like real cherries, and it has real cherry juice in it. I love that one. Oh. So recently, my own personal life, I had a situation where a close family member attacked me, some of which had to do with me having an atheist YouTube channel. And other things were quite personal, but they aired it out on Facebook, which I didn't think was an appropriate place to do it. But they chose to do that. So that was a little uncomfortable. New chips. Mediterranean chips with garlic. Not bad. First time I'm trying them too. Any Christians out there? I'm friendly. I truly want to know if there's something I'm missing. If there's something you know that I may not have ever heard, or something you experienced, which is very important to you, that maybe you want to share with everybody else. I'd love to hear that. If anything, here I am, an atheist YouTuber, and I'm willing to open up my little platform for you to share what the Holy Ghost is telling you to share. So if you're bold enough, if you feel that the Holy Ghost wants people to know what the Holy Ghost has told you, then please, I'll give you a platform to share it. And usually I leave these videos up so after the fact, people can also see this video. So nice Sunday. Happy Sunday, everybody. And what's on your mind? Let me drop the link. Forgot. In the chat, here is the link if you want to actually come on in. There's the link that will enable you to come right into the screen. I will put you on the stage so we can talk direct. Or if you want, you could just comment right on the chat. I should see that as well. The other day, I was chatting with a Christian on another YouTube channel, and I invited him on a live, but he didn't want to come on. I don't know why. It's pretty easy just to type a bunch of stuff on a comment. And it may be more difficult to explain yourself live on an actual camera. But I can assure you, you have nothing to worry about with me because I'm as casual as you can get. And I love all human beings. I don't care if you're a Christian, if you're Hindu, if you're Muslim, if you're atheist, if you're Buddhist, if you're anything. I don't care. I do care that you would treat other human beings with respect and dignity. And that's all I really care about. So I love people of all different religions and all different points of view. And I want to give a platform to engage in civil dialogue for all people who maybe want to discuss some of their ideas, some of their thoughts, some of their opinions. I'm all for that. And that's what I'm here for. Even if you want to talk about Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez and their marriage, that's okay too. Me, I didn't follow it. I saw it on the news, but it's just not my cup of tea. I'm not enamored with rich people. I'm not enamored with how they get married, who they marry. Just doesn't tingle my mind. I could care less. I wish them the best of marriage. I hope they get along well. I hope they live a beautiful life. But as far as caring what billionaires do and the lifestyle they have, I can't relate to it because I can't even imagine having billions of dollars. It's almost beyond my understanding what it would be like to do whatever you want, however you want, whenever you want, right? And buying whatever you want, however you want, whenever you want. That's something I can't relate to, but must be pretty nice, I guess. But I'm sure a lot of problems come with that too. A lot of baggage. Responsibility, you could say, as well. Not that I think all billionaires care about responsibility, but some may. So who wants to be the first person to step into the chat Sunday night? I kind of wish I had enough following to open up a stronger community, because when I do things like this, it's really not about me. I really do like to know what other people think. Right? And I like to challenge their beliefs if it's something I may disagree with. But I truly love having open dialogue, civil open dialogue. So when I do something like this, it's not for me. It's for trying to open up a community where people can be free to speak about anything they may want to talk about. I'm going to be going away, making a trip to Texas. I live in Florida, so it's going to be a while that I'm not going to be posting much on YouTube because I'll be traveling. I like to drive. So it's like a 3-day drive there, a 3-day drive back. I'll be spending probably 4 days there. So I'll be gone for at least 10, 11 days. And I'm probably not going to be posting on YouTube very much starting on the 3rd of July. So I'll wish you a happy 4th of July in advance. Definitely want you to enjoy the day. Maybe even take the time to think about what it means to be free, what it means to be independent, and maybe some of the good things that have happened for you in your life over the last year. Any holiday is a good time to be grateful for the good things in your life. Too many people spend too much time focused on the negative. And I do believe it's a good mental practice to have gratitude, to be grateful for the things that you might have, even if it's simple things like freedom of thought. That's one of the most valuable things for me personally. I have been poor. I have had no money, but I always had freedom of thought. And that's the most important freedom to me, is freedom of thought. All right. I never was in a position where I lost my freedom to think for myself. And that got me through some hard times. I mean, I lived in a car for probably about 6 months. I know a dear atheist friend that pops on my channel that is going through something similar. And I don't think it's the worst thing that could happen. It's uncomfortable, but certainly there are worse things that could happen. Zombie God, thanks for joining me tonight. Appreciate you coming in. Let me read what your question is. What think about an atheist that still listens to gospel music? I think that's perfectly fine. I actually listen to some Christian music. So I'm an atheist that does listen to some Christian music. It's not that I'm listening to it because I think it represents truth necessarily, but I do appreciate some of the musicianship, certainly some of the singers. I think some of the best singers in the world are in the Christian music world. And church is a good place to learn how to sing when you think about it, or play an instrument. So I still listen to some Christian music. I try to keep up to date with it. So I think it's okay. You know, personally, I wouldn't base my life on it, on the words anyway. But just listening to Christian music is perfectly acceptable to me. It was pretty sad to see what happened with Newsboys. I used to listen to Newsboys a long time ago when I was a Christian. Now, I never was a big fan. I never, was enamored with their music. But it was sad to see that he'd been living a lie, for probably 20 years. And I think one of the reasons he was living a lie was that when you're a Christian in born again, fundamentalist, evangelical type Christianity, you're kind of almost forced to lie. It's sad, but you can't really tell the truth because let's say you're having some really bad thoughts. In those circles, they will judge that. They will judge you based on what you think, right? And let alone if you're doing things that they don't approve of, they'll judge that too. And you could lose your career, especially in Christian music, because the career is based on you representing an image and a certain false narrative, and that's your whole career. So if you do something that disturbs the fan base, you could lose all of your income. So what do? A lot of people choose to live double lives. A lot of people choose to simply lie. And I don't think it's right, but I think they're forced to do so. Zombie God, I can understand that. I recently went to an event that was celebrating Juneteenth Day, and the music was being put on by a local church, and it was a gospel church, like a black church that was doing gospel music. And I liked it, and I was moved by some of it. But I wasn't moved because I believe in God, because I don't. I was moved by the fact that some of these people had gone through a lot, and they were coming out the other side and were grateful for it. And that type of quote unquote spirituality, I can relate to. I don't have to believe in their God to understand that a people group came out of some hardship and are celebrating it. So I have no problem with drawing inspiration from music, no matter what kind of music. I could listen to a hard rock band and hear a song that really moves me. That doesn't mean I agree with everyone in the hard rock band or believe in everything that was spoken in the song. There was just something in the song that I could relate to that maybe was personal to me and was moving for me. So I totally understand how music has the ability to inspire, to move people. And it doesn't necessarily matter what the particular lyric is or if you agree with the band, right? That's why I think it's rough with people like Michael Tate, not to make any excuses for his behavior because it was horrible. But I can understand the idea that he could move certain people through his music and not be representing what he claimed to be representing, because music is art. Let's face it. Art is meant to move people. So totally like the arts, by the way. I've always loved music. Music has always been important to me. That's why I don't judge music if it's made by a particular person. because I look at it as a separate piece of art, you know? Zombie God, is there any particular artist that, have helped you through hard moments? Any gospel groups or any songs? I know I have found a lot of inspiration through artists that I followed through the years, like Bruce Springsteen. That's one that comes to mind. You know, I doubt if I agree with everything Bruce Springsteen says, but it doesn't matter. If I like the song, I like the song. 90s grunge. Now, it's the 90s. That was Nirvana, right? Nirvana was the 90s, right? Am I getting that right? Stone Temple Pilots, weren't they around in that era? Yeah. I have a niece that was really into Nirvana, Kurt Cobain, and that whole scene. I can't say I was really totally into it. I mean, I heard the music, Teen Spirit comes to mind. But uh, I'm of a different generation. Like that, at that time, I was not at the age that was really growing up with things like Nirvana. I had already been grown. So I think that impacts, like, the music that most impacted me in my lifetime was music from the 70s. And that's because that's when I was really coming of age, growing up, so to say. And that music will never leave me. It's always there, you know. Fred Hammond, I remember him. Kirk Franklin, the Winans. Yeah, these groups are classic gospel. I remember way back gospel music, like trying to remember the name, like Grover Cleveland or people like that, you know, and they were great singers for their day, very influential on people like Aretha Franklin. And Aretha Franklin was a gospel singer, came up in church. She's definitely one of the all-time greats. I saw Kirk Franklin once. Saw him years ago at a Franklin Graham crusade, and it was featuring Kirk Franklin and Crystal Lewis, if I'm not mistaken. I used to like Crystal Lewis. I don't know how old you folks are. I'm probably a lot older. But one of my favorite Christian singers going way back was a Christian artist named Jamie Owens Collins. And she was a great, pure type of singer. And she was one of my favorites. Another one that I really was moved by back in the day was Keith Green. And Keith Green, I think, was pretty sincere. I think he was before the Christian music industry became really an industry and a business. but he came up trying to keep it real. And I used to really be moved by his stuff. Hey, Lost Explorers Guild. Hello. What's on your mind tonight? Do any of you guys have any favorite bands that you listen to regularly today? Zombie God. Are you out of Christianity at this point? Just curious by your question or your statement. You're not sure if you're out or in? That's a bad spot. I think that's a very difficult place to be. If you're not sure whether you're out or in, or if you're not sure what to believe or what you do believe, that's a very confusing state of mind. And yeah, that can be difficult. But oh, it's Lost Explorers Guild. I'll tell you two bands that I listen to all the time. They're not famous, but they are famous on YouTube. Okay, because I listen to most of my music off YouTube. And there's two bands from Australia that do cover songs, but I think they're incredible. They've become probably my two favorite bands, and that's Hindley Hindley Street Country Club, HSCC, and the other one is Sing It Live, and they're both from Australia. They both were started by the same people. One of them was started originally was Hindley Street Country Club, and that was started by a guy named Con Dello, and his musical partner when they started is Darren Mullen, I think is his name. And they started the band and then they broke up, but they both have their own bands now. And both of those bands are incredible. I listen to everything they put out because it's as good as I've heard. Country. Yeah, those two Australian bands, well, they really rock. They're incredibly gifted, but they don't do original music. So Conway. That was good. Conway Twitter. I love that. I get it. Yeah, Conway Twitty. That is funny though, right? Conway Twitter. Zombie God. I do relate. Okay. It is kind of hard to think that God is good, and at the same time, of course, know that he certainly okayed slavery, and he also ordered people to do some incredibly violent things like genocide. So once you come to see that, it's hard to say, oh, this God is always good. The only way you do that, and the only way I hear this from Christians, would be that God is able to do anything, and anything God does is good. So if God decides to kill babies, it's okay because God does it. And if God decides to tell you to do the same, it's okay because God does it. But for me, thinking that through, that seems sickening to me. I mean, I must think for myself. I cannot accept that it's good to do those things just because a God tells you to. Yeah, I agree with your Lost Explorers Guild. It's definitely a product of our mind. Supernatural things are they cannot be determined. They cannot be detected other than in our minds, other than the human mind. So when someone says something is supernatural, all they're saying is they don't have a natural explanation. So because they don't have a natural explanation, they're putting in an imaginary concept that makes them feel comfortable with it, I guess. But no, it's not real. I would say that supernatural things are as real as a dream, right? Are dreams real? Yeah, in the sense that they are in our minds, they're real. But are they really real? No. I had a really rough night of bad dreams last night, which is very unusual. I don't really normally have that, but I had a lot of dreams that were very disturbing. And when I woke up, I felt like I came out of war. I was like all worn out. So, but were they real? No, they were not real. Hey, zombie God. So you're out of Christianity because you can't accept a God that would do bad things and tell others to do bad things. And I understand that. But I want you to consider that God could be both good and bad. That is possible. In fact, I think that would be more convincing to someone like me because there's some logic to that. It would explain why maybe he decides to do some very bad things and then at other times do some very good things. So I would be more inclined to think it's more rational to believe in a God that is both good and bad. Something along the lines of the yin and the yang, you know. But that's not Christianity, you know. That would be a different type of belief system altogether. But if you're struggling to find purpose and meaning after you kind of drift out of Christianity, I could give you some ideas on how to do that, because I did that, you know. Now, of course, whatever I did and however I came out of it doesn't mean that that would be the way you would find peace. But I've managed to find peace of mind without any belief in God. And I used to totally believe in the Christian God. So there was a transition, but I came out the other side and I came out a happier person. And I think I'm a better person now than when I was a Christian. And I guess I remember how I did it, but I think everyone's journey is different, right? Well, zombie God, yeah, God can be good and evil, or God may not exist. And that's kind of where I landed, you know. But the Bible God being all good and then telling people to do bad things, being all good and then endorsing slavery, being all good while we watch evil and suffering occur every day. I don't think that God is real at all. Yeah, Lost Explorers Guild. Definitely see that as being accurate. All right. This is why the Muslim God, Allah, exists in the minds of the Muslim. And, you know, the Christian God exists in the minds of the Christian. Because it's all a product of the human mind. So if you consider your thoughts representing a God, then yeah, any concept of God is okay. But why we name that God, I don't know. I don't. Hey, Dark Light Delirium, how you doing? Now, there's a God who just entered the building. Dark Light Delirium. But of course, Dark Light Delirium, you think I'm God as well. So at least you're God. At least you being God are not the only God. Doesn't a lot of this stuff come down to just how we define words? Because some people define God in all different ways, and they can fit God into a particular type of God. And that's okay. I've just come to believe there is no God other than God as a concept in our own minds. Mm-hmm. I kind of agree with the chat. we can create God in any way that we can conceive of God. What's always been a pet peeve of mine personally is I understand people could believe in all different gods, all different concepts of God. All of that makes sense to me because we're human and we each have our individual brains and we think differently. But it's when you dogmatically say that your concept of God is the only valid one, that becomes, to me, a problem. And that leads to divisiveness, and it leads to even wars, you know, and it leads to people losing their rights and their ability to live free. And that is what I personally am against. I'm not against people who believe in all different types of gods. Yeah, consistency. If you're going to apply a way of thinking to others, you definitely ought to apply it to yourself. Otherwise, you're just a hypocrite. You know, what's good for me is not good for you. You know, that sort of thinking. And that's just weird. I also totally can relate to religion robbing people of their ability to actually love one another. And what I mean by that, not that religious people can't love one another or love someone who doesn't think like they do. Of course, that is possible. But the idea that my concept of God is the only concept of God that is valid, and that if you don't believe my concept of God, then you are necessarily evil. That to me is just a dangerous, horrible belief. And it's going to impact humanity every time. Okay, I accept people who believe differently than I do. If you're caught up in fundamentalist type religion, you often cannot accept other people who believe differently than you do. And that is very bad to me, very bad. I often ask theists, people who believe in a particular God, to try to validate their belief, because that's a test. Can you validate the belief that your particular God that you are telling me about is the only concept that has validity? Because it doesn't. And I've never had anyone be able to come in, talk to me, and somehow show me and demonstrate that it is only their understanding of a God that has any validity. To me, it becomes just a closed mind. And a closed mind is not good. Okay. And if you close your mind and you consider that a positive, that's the only way I can understand that you would justify closing your mind and insisting that your concept is the only valid one. And that becomes arrogant. It's very arrogant. And I think we're seeing a lot of that in America today. There's a lot of religious arrogance. And I even made a video about that. The arrogance of American Christianity. You know, another thought that I had recently, and love your opinions on this. Hey, Dark, do you like my sexy look without a tooth? It's particularly sexy. But consciousness. Okay, consciousness is a very controversial topic and discussion in philosophy and religion and all that. But so far, all I can conclude is that consciousness emerges from the human brain, which is a physical organ. Okay? Now, it's not physical. Consciousness is not physical. It's a concept, right? All right. But it's a concept that emerges from physicality. That's how I see it. I could be wrong, and that's why I open up these conversations. But for me, it's as simple as understanding that when a person passes away, are they still conscious? And I think most people would say, of course not, right? All right. Even when you get punched hard enough or in an accident, you can lose consciousness, right? Doesn't mean that you're permanently gone, but the loss of consciousness is physical. Not consciousness, that's not physical. Like love is not physical, but love comes out of a physical brain. I always talk about one of my favorite songs, Rihanna's Love on the Brain, because to me, that song reflects a profound truth, in my opinion. Love is a product of the human brain. Let's see. Lost Explorers Guild. Consciousness is a physical brain state. Okay. It's a mental mechanism. Yeah. That is, or at least once was, a beneficial trait to increase our likelihood of passing on our genes. That makes pretty good sense to me. Right. Basically, I'm wondering if everyone in this chat would agree that when you have no brain and the physical brain is destroyed or completely dysfunctional or completely not functioning at all, is there any consciousness? And I answer that question, no. There is no consciousness once the human brain is gone. And I'd love your opinions on that. I know religious people tend to say, yes, there's this thing that flies somewhere. out of the human brain and or out of the body, and somehow goes somewhere else. I don't see any evidence of that at all. Yeah, so we're on the same page, Lost Explorers Guild, on that one. Mm-hmm. Exactly how I see that myself. No brain, no consciousness. And it's so clear to me. It's like not even like I don't even how anyone could think otherwise becomes very mystical, like doesn't make sense to me that somebody would believe someone with no brain has consciousness. See no way to believe that. I no evidence of such a thing, kind of like just made up. Doc, I don't understand that as far as like all things being conscious, like just as simple like a rock. Does a rock have consciousness? I have a can in my hand. Does it have consciousness? I don't think so, but hey, Wolf Den, how you doing? I'm in a real friendly mood tonight. And then the last time we spoke, I was on a warpath. You messed around and found out. Is there anything in particular you're talking about? I don't know. God is good. Trump is dope. You gotta love that. MAGA USA. Don't know what to tell you, Wolfdom. Don't know what to tell you. One thing I would ask, Wolf, is Trump any more doper than other people? Or is he the dopiest of all dopes? Yeah, kind of see it your way, Lost Explorers Guild. That's kind of how I see it. So, Wolf, if someone calls you daddy, that makes you dope. Doc, I think we both know that Yahweh was a regional god before he became the god of Judaism and Christianity. But that's only because you probably studied a little bit, right? Because a lot of Christians don't really know that, right? They don't know that there was a world prior to the Old Testament. Every Jewish person or religious Jew or religious Christian, they all seem to think that the entire world was all about the Old Testament. And yet, when you just do a little bit of study, you realize that there were people prior to the Old Testament that had never heard of the Yahweh God. All right. They did not worship the Yahweh God. Indeed, they never even heard of him. Right. But that's a difficult pill for the religious to swallow. Just very hard. They'll wiggle around that and say, oh, well, of course they knew of the Yahweh God. And it's like, no, they did not know of the Yahweh God. There you go, Wolf. That's what I just was talking about. Jesus was always there, the Alpha and the Omega. So when I got to ask you, because I want to see what pretzel you have to twist yourself into, all right, just to somehow rationalize this belief, all right, you certainly must understand that there were people prior to Jesus, that Jesus was not the first representation of a prophet, of a man of God himself, that there were people prior to that that had never heard of Jesus ever. And I'm sure you know that. So for those people, they certainly did not consider him the Alpha and the Omega because they never heard of him. Wolf, I'm going to let you in, and I'm real friendly today. I'm going to love talking to you. Hey, Wolf, how are you?
What's up, man? Can you hear me? Because I got a weird setup going. I'm not at my usual place, and can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
All right, cool.
Yeah, you sounded pretty good.
What happened? You got some Tylenol 3 from the dentist or what? Like you got you effed around and you found out, huh?
That's what you meant.
You were blaspheming and you talking all
That's
that
what
mess.
you meant. I
And,
got it now. I
and
didn't get it at first, but now
God just he literally smacked you straight, man. What
well,
happened?
I made a short video, by the way, and it said that I blasphemed God and he knocked my tooth out.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
I keep up with you, man. You're gonna come back to Christ, man. It's gonna be all good. He's gonna give you the best set of teeth ever, bro.
Yeah, because when you're a Christian, you always have good teeth, right?
Pearly whites, man. That's good. Yeah. Nah. Yeah. Hey, man. Hey, if NATO called me daddy on international TV around the world, and I made him pay like what 5%? Was it 50%? 5% more than what? Like we making them pay like they should have been paying. And yeah, that makes you Big Daddy Trump.
So do you generally think like might makes right?
I
Like
mean,
is that a general idea that you have?
might use with righteousness and might in the right areas.
Because
I
like
mean,
I just generally disagree with that premise.
are
Like
you
it's
not?
not something I like. I don't relate to that anymore.
What do
All
you
right.
mean?
Now, when I was a young man, I related to that more so than I do now.
This dude Wolf has one of the most impenetrable barriers of delusion and denial. Well, here we go. And you don't even know the half of it, bro. I got the armor of God on, man. It's the ultimate impenetrable, man. You guys can't, y'all wouldn't even be able to troll me if you tried, man.
Well, I'll tell you what.
It's cool. I'll get you all saved, though. I'll get you all saved. Cheers,
well,
though, man. Cheers.
well, here's the thing.
I bet you guys do know. I'm known. I'm known all across here. I'm like who's that dude from Harry Potter with no nose?
I don't know. Never read Harry Potter. I don't know.
I know somebody in your audience knows who it is, but amen, Abel. Keep on praying, brother. Keep on praying in Jesus' name. Um, but I'm the Christian like that. You can't speak my name. You can't speak my name, but everybody knows who I am. I'm infamous.
I remember one day I had a long live stream, which I deleted because I realized it was a bit too much for YouTube. And
Might
there
get
was
might get
a
like that too.
there
I
was
mean,
someone in the chat who I do know from here, and
ambush
I
apostate.
consider him a friend. Ambushed
Yeah.
apostate,
See, God, I already
and
know.
and he was coming in to mess around with you. I don't know what happened. I don't no idea. But
Jesus loves you, Dark. Jesus loves you, man. I love you, brother. I don't know you, but I love you, man.
well,
Uh,
let me first let Lupin. I love for you to come here. All right, and if there's anything you want to ask me, shoot. Because I
what,
want to open it up to any type of belief and any type of thought. Right.
I got a stream coming up here in a little bit, but like I said, I'm in a weird place, so I'm gonna have my friend basically run it because his internet connection's solid, and then I'm gonna be on my phone because this computer doesn't stream good. But I guess I can join the stream on it. It's gonna be complicated. I'm like a wizard, like genius. Think God gave me his brilliant brain to figure like how to make this work. So this is a good test run, actually. Amen. Abel, Jesus is the truth.
Let me ask you something. Just about philosophy of like authorities, right? Authoritarianism, right? When I was a young man, okay, I was very, very strong. All right.
You still are, bro.
No, I'm not. I don't. I live in the real world, Lupin.
All right. I ain't gonna grease you up that bad. All right, you may gotta you might need to oil them joints up. Maybe start praying and start doing some push-ups and crunches with me. Let's work out, man.
No, listen. I don't have an interest in being physically strong anymore. If I
Hey,
did, maybe I would do those things.
it makes
But
you feel good even if you do like 3 or 5.
well, I like to take a walk. That's
I,
about the
I,
extent of my exercise. All
I
right?
can't stand walking, bro. I don't know how Jesus did it so well. Jesus
But
walked.
you're young, right?
I
How old?
mean, I'm 35.
Oh, okay. That's not. I wouldn't call that young, but you're still on the young side.
Yeah,
That's how I
I got a
view that.
baby. I got a baby face, so like a lot of people think I'm a lot younger.
All right. Well, when I was a young
Amen,
man,
Abel.
meaning between the ages of like 21 to 40 for me, all right, I used to bench press 4 1/4. I had 21-inch arms without taking a steroid ever. All right. I did when I was real young, like 18, 19. I used to box. I was in the New York Golden Gloves. And this is the old days. And there was a period of time in my early 20s where I really rolled with some really rough dudes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm praying
And
for all of y'all.
well, I'm saying this was when I was young.
I'm talking your chat.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
You
understand,
were rolling with corn pop.
when I was a young man, I
He was a-
rolled with some rough dudes. All
Corn
right.
pop was a really bad dude.
And I have come as I got older to understand that that was all nonsense. It was all meaningless.
I mean, it's
Okay.
still good. It's still good to take care of your body,
No,
regardless.
that, yeah, I'm for anyone taking care of their body.
Yeah.
But it's the idea that, let's say, I could beat up another man. All right. Therefore, I was correct. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right. That's crazy talk. All right. It doesn't matter who you can beat up and who can beat up you. It doesn't matter. So if I'm on a national or international stage and I'm playing politics with different people and I have the strength, let's say, of the United States, which is, I think, the strongest nation in the world. All right. It doesn't prove anything for me to say,
Well,
look how strong I am, and I'm going to bully you into something. That mentality.
that's
is
Israel.
weak.
That's Israel, though. That's Israel.
Well, just that,
It's
that
the,
whole,
it's the Jews, dude.
the
No,
whole mentality is wrong. It's like,
no.
it doesn't make you right because
let
you
me
can bully some people.
let me kind of throw a wrench into your little equation right here. You know, we could both get ripped. We could both exercise. We could both take care of our body, and then we could go and do like a muscle competition. We don't have to get fit just to destroy each other. But it's good to take care of your body. You'd be strong, fit, and have your heart in a good place and work. And I think that's we right now we have that with Trump. I saw that you were upset that he bombed this dirt pit in Iran where they had nuclear bombs that they could. It's not like he bombed a populated city and everything like that. And those bombs were, I mean, those bombs that was like threading a needle. I mean,
Well, let me. Can I tell you why I was upset over that?
and these dudes have been chanting death to America and death to Israel since I could remember, since I was a baby.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. Can I explain that at least in a way where maybe I can articulate why I thought that was wrong?
It's because we're in the end times, brother. Go ahead, bro.
Oh yeah, for 2,000 years we've been in the end times.
Hey, 7,000 years coming right up.
I remember well in the 1970s being Christian and thinking I was in the end times.
Yeah. Now you're getting close to your end time, and now it's like, dang. But you know what's crazy? It may be the end time. We'll see. We'll see.
Well,
I'm praying for you till the end of time, brother.
Number one, I want you to understand something. I do not support Iran. So you got to have that as a premise. All right. I'm not for the supreme leader. I'm not for Islamic religion. All right. None of that I support.
Yeah, it was created by the Catholics anyway.
All right. So the reason I was upset when Trump ordered the bombing of these nuclear facilities,
Yeah,
right, was not because I support Iran.
yeah. You didn't want us to get into another forever war.
What I didn't like was a number of things. Number one, I think that when you do something like that, it should go through more of a vetting process and not be in the hands of a single individual. All right, because there's a lot of thought that would go into it. All right.
Wait,
Number
but
two,
Trump has advisors. He has military advisors. And Abel,
No.
right now, Abel, they're Abel. Let me tell you,
He doesn't
they're not
listen to.
Abel.
He is the boss.
Abel, they're not engaging because they're so struck by the Holy Spirit. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to say. That's why the Holy Spirit through me.
Trump does not run an administration that is based on other people's opinions. He runs an administration based on what he desires to do. All right.
Yeah.
So when you look at people like Rubio and Hegseth, these men are not leaders. They just bow and kowtow to a man.
Right? Yeah, there's the chain of command, sure.
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, you could look at it as a positive, and I get that. You might, that's the way it's supposed to be. All right. But they're not men who are making their own decisions. All right. These are men.
Trump is a commander in chief, you know.
Yes. So you agree with me that it was Trump who made this decision, right?
Well, Trump and Bibi.
Yeah, but I'm saying it wasn't.
It had to be. It eventually had to be done. You know, we've been talking about doing this for years and years and years, and then we got stuck in a forever war with Bush and all these establishment cunts and everything like that. You know, these little sycophants, and Trump is like the most anti-establishment president. He's like the firecracker that America like really needed, because everything has been establishment. And unless Trump is really deep into it, which, you know, I'm not putting that past it, you know. I mean, there's some very high power, there's some very powerful players in this system that we, you know, but, you know, I think they're trying to take Trump out, and, you know, they probably if he didn't back him up, you know, the Jews probably would have assassinated him like they did with JFK.
Do you agree that it was Trump who made this decision?
Well, I think Israel tried to bait him into a war, and, you know, with Israel being our ally, we did it. We did it, and you know, but Israel was also playing a pretty dangerous game, because, you know, they were messing around with the ceasefire, but there's an art of military warfare, you know, where they have to do certain exercises, like to play. It's like a fake fight. It's like almost a fake thing. Like, we're gonna send these bombs over there, right, and everything, and, you know, you're gonna get them shot down. They're not gonna land. They're not gonna kill too many people. Whatever. They gotta show. It's like propaganda. It's propaganda. It's the theater of war. If you ever heard of that. So, you know, Trump did what Trump had to do, what we've been needing to do for a long time. Same thing with deporting the illegal immigrants. You know, the fact that we have so many is a problem. You know, I mean, and my family came here legally. My parents legally came here. You know, my grandparents and my parents came here legally on a plane from Cuba.
Where did they come from? What country?
Cuba, communists.
Okay.
They escaped communism.
Okay.
Which is
they
where
came here how many years ago?
A long time ago.
Before you were born or after you were born?
Before I was born.
Okay, so you were born here in the United States.
Yeah, I was born in 90.
Okay. Were they legal citizens in 1990?
Yeah, they can't. Like, my grandfather was a doctor in Cuba. My grandmother was a nurse in Cuba. And whenever Fidel took over and they saw communism was going to essentially become their death, you know, it was going to take away their freedom, everything like that. You know, they were brought here legally. They gave up everything.
How did they come here?
Like they essentially said, we're no longer Cubans. We have no allegiance with Cuba. Came to America through Ellis Island, with a plane. They lost all their titles. So even though they were doctors and nurses in Cuba, whenever they got here, they were nothing. They from the ground up, They had to rebuild everything.
When they came here, I mean, understand the question I'm asking, and all I'm asking is for honest. I'm not judging this, all right? But when they did come here, all right, did they come here as citizens?
Yeah, like they
were citizens before they came to America?
No, they came here legally. Like they came here legally. They left Cuba in a legal manner. Like
Right.
the Cuban army, communist army,
Yeah.
took everything they owned, all their jewelry, their possessions. They took all their titles, everything, and everything they had. They left them with a bag of clothes,
Right.
No money, no nothing. Came here through Ellis Island.
Who allowed them to come in? Who was president?
Ooh, good question. I don't know. I don't know that one.
All right. Do you realize that Trump is not allowing people like your parents to come in the United States?
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not.
He's perfectly fine. He's perfectly fine for you're joking yourself. You're eating like obvious left-wing propaganda.
You think that
Trump is for legal immigration?
So he's allowing people from other countries who are not American citizens to come into this country
through the legal with the legal process. The problem is we have such a big problem with illegal immigration that the people who do try and come here legally get screwed over. So that's why whenever you meet Cuban Americans, they're more patriotic than most Americans. As soon as Cuban Americans touch, like if whether they come here legally or illegally, like the moment they touch American land, they say, "Hey, no more Cubans, no more Mexicans, no more Venezuelans. We're in America now." Like you're not gonna see Cubans, rocking Cuban flags in a protest. They're gonna be Viva America, long live America, long live the USA.
Okay.
They didn't escape a shithole country to promote shithole policy.
You seem to be avoiding a deep dive.
No,
because what I'm asking is that your parents were not from America. That is absolutely a true fact.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They came to America
legally.
Yes, like many other people who came legally, right?
Yeah, but we got a big problem with people coming in illegally.
A
huge problem that the Democrats want to use to change the voting landscape of the United States. And this is an obvious plan. If you don't see that, I mean,
I'm not Democrat or Republican.
Right. You're wishy-washy.
I'm not political like that.
You're even worse.
No.
You're even worse, man.
You don't have to
pick a side. Pick a side, man.
Do you understand in America you do not have to pick alliances to political parties?
Pick Jesus, brother.
Do you get that? Or you think no, everyone in America has to take a political party? That's not America.
Hey, pick Jesus and then be proud to be an American.
Right. You were born in America.
I was, yes.
Right. If your parents came here and they were not legal at the time, you would be now with the new movement, you would be thrown out of the United States.
I could never be thrown out of the United States. My parents could never be thrown out of the United States. My grandparents could never be thrown out of the United States. They came through Ellis because they came here as through the legal process. There was a legal process. You have to look at how the legal process works versus the illegal process.
If I'm going to school at Harvard University and I came here legally to go to school.
Yeah.
So I'm legal.
Sure. Okay.
Do you understand that right now I can be deported and thrown out of Harvard?
What do you understand that what you just said makes no sense?
No, that's the way it is.
No. Okay.
The
All right.
word
All right. Wait.
legal,
All right.
the word
Wait.
legal
Where
is
were you born
nuanced.
at? Where were you
It's-
born? Where were you born?
I was born in America.
Can you get deported?
Not right now. I can't.
Exactly. Okay. Now, if they did try and deport you, you know what protects you, right?
From a fascist, like a
Yeah.
fascist leader? Nothing.
Yeah. You know what protects you?
What?
Come on, brother. The Second Amendment. I mean, you're probably gonna die
They
trying.
don't
But I
go
mean,
by that.
you're probably gonna die trying. But I mean,
You
hey,
know,
if it goes to shit like that, like you're gonna have to take me out because I mean,
listen. I know Spanish people.
no, you don't
Okay?
know. You don't know Spanish. You know, you think you
I
know
don't know
Spanish
Spanish
people.
people. I
You
don't
think
know Spanish
you
people.
think you know Spanish people.
I do not know Spanish people.
Sí, señor. Tú no entiendo
Okay,
personas español.
I'm almost tempted to bring my Spanish girlfriend in from the other room, and she can go
Ándale.
beep 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 boop bop boop, and you'll go, oh yeah, she's speaking Spanish. All right. So this idea that I don't know Spanish people is ridiculous.
Treja aquí.
Listen, I know Spanish people. You're going to disagree with that. You're going to say, no, you do not know any Spanish.
I'm obviously screwing with you, bro.
Yeah.
Like, sure.
Okay,
you know some Spanish people. Cool. What do you know? You know Mexicans. You know Puerto Ricans. You know Venezuelans. You know Cubans.
I know
What you know?
Puerto Ricans.
You know
I know
Spaniards.
Venezuelans. I know Colombians.
Okay.
I know people from Cuba. I know a lot of different types of Spanish.
I really can't speak good Spanish, bro. I'm way more American. I speak hardly Spanglish.
All right. Well, my girlfriend comes from Colombia.
Okay. Did she come here legally?
Colombian.
Did she come here legally?
She's legal here now. Yeah.
Like through what process? She came here through the legal process.
When she came here, she was not legal, but she became legal.
How did she become legal?
She did all of the money and proper channels, and she was declared a U.S. citizen.
Does she have a social security number?
Yes.
Or an ITIN?
She's not temporary. She's permanent. She's a U.S. citizen.
Bring her in here. Let me talk to her.
I don't want to bring her in here. I could. She's watching TV in the other room.
Because I got ice on speed dial right now. I'm watching you.
Listen, there are Spanish people being pulled off the streets of the United States.
Oh shit.
Who are family people, who are Christians, right? And they are being deported. Not only being deported, they're being captured without due process, and they're being put into prison.
Dog, they didn't come here. They didn't come here through due process. Due process can kiss my ass, bro. You didn't come here with due process. Screw that. Get out of here. Get your ass out of here. And you know what? If you're in America and you came here to escape your shithole country, and then you go in and saying Viva Mexico, Viva Mexico, Viva Venezuela, you know, Viva MS-13. Go live over there then. Don't come over here. And then, you know, do you not see the insanity behind that? Not only is that fucking ass backwards, backward asses. I don't know. It's so backwards, but it also screws over the people who try to come here through the legal process. Now it really screws them over.
No.
Come on, man, dude. You're
not living in a delusional world, my
brother.
You're living in a delusion. All right.
You want so?
Do you know?
Hey, all right. Hey, why do you have a door? Why do you have a door in your house?
Why do I have a door?
Yeah, it's not a trick question.
The house is built with a door.
Okay, what's the purpose of that door?
So you can go in and out, close the door.
Right, so nobody can get into your home, right?
Oh, that's one of the purposes, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why do you got a door? Why do you got a door then? If you want open, I mean, shit, take your door off. You know, let people in.
I could open my house to other people.
Well, why don't you?
I'm allowed to do that, right?
Yeah, go bring a whole bunch of like Venezuelans and a whole bunch of Mexicans, a whole bunch of Colombians. Hopefully they're here illegally. Call me up, bro. We gonna make a killing, dog.
So I'm allowed to open my door, right?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, because it's because I live in a house, right? And
Yeah.
if I decided to allow someone to come sleep in my house, that is up to me, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So if we are to allow someone into America, we're allowed to do that as well. Now we can shut it off. We can say nobody is allowed to come here, which is what we're watching today. That's what we're looking at.
No, you can come here. You can come here legally. You can come here legally. You can claim asylum for the proper reasons. Because your country is a shithole, because your country is poor, because there's not opportunity in your country, is not reason for asylum. Your life is not in imminent threat and danger in your country. You're coming over here because we had a weak border, and now we're closing our door. We're kicking out the people who broke in. And the people that want to come here legally come through the legal process. My parents did it. I know people who are doing it now.
Okay. Have you ever done anything illegal?
Huh?
Have you ever done anything illegal?
I plead the fifth. I'm an American citizen. I get my
probably have done something illegal.
Hey, that's your assumption. You don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, if you can't answer if you did something illegal in your life, then what could I assume? You probably
I plead the you never know. I plead the fifth, bro.
You've never done anything against any law.
I'm not answering that question.
Yeah, you've done something illegal, because if you never have, then why not say, no, I have never done anything illegal in my life?
Because I don't got to tell you.
No, but let's suppose I get a speeding ticket. Okay.
All right.
That is illegal. Do you understand that?
Yeah, and coming into our country illegally is illegal.
Yes.
And then if you break another crime, and if you break another law in this country, it's even more illegal. Your ass is getting out of here.
Listen.
Dog,
again, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back.
Quit being
such a question I'm asking you.
Your Trump arrangements
in the state over. Get a speeding ticket. Yeah. I did something illegal. Is that correct? Yes or no?
According to U.S. law, yeah. If you do, yeah. Where were you doing?
If I get a speeding ticket, should I be dragged away into prison and held there? Well, do you think that's an appropriate response?
You know what? Go to Poland illegally. Go to Poland illegally, and first off, see if they even let you in.
I'm not going to Poland. Every time I ask a question, you do the dance where you go away.
How fast were you? How fast were you speeding?
I'm going 85 and a 60.
85 and a 60, then no, you could probably get through with a fine.
Okay, what if the law states, or what if someone came into power and said, no, what we want to do is we want to take someone who went 85 and a 60, and what we want to do is send him to Guantanamo Bay and let him live out his life in that prison. Would you say that is appropriate or not appropriate?
He should have stayed in his own country.
I mean, do you ever answer a question? When you ask me a question, I give you a direct answer.
If you go to another country,
not another country, in America. Okay. If your government in America said that someone who does 85 and a 60 is now going to be sent to Guantanamo Bay and never be let out, would that be acceptable to you?
You see how much of a hyperbole that is?
It's not hyperbole.
It is, dude. It is a hyperbole.
No.
Yes,
It's a
it is.
hypothetical question,
And it's a stupid hypothetical.
and you won't answer it.
No, it's a stupid hypothetical question. If
But
you
you won't answer it. When you ask me a question,
okay,
I give you an absolute
answer.
direct answer.
Okay, ask me the question again. Ask me the question again, straight up. Just like, go ahead.
We would like direct answers, not deflecting off.
Go ahead. All right. Well,
Japan.
give me a direct question without leaving out a whole bunch of details.
A person commits the crime of speeding. They do an illegal act.
Is it Is it a U.S. citizen?
Yeah.
Okay. Are they in the U.S.?
Yeah, they do it on the highway.
It's a U.S.
in the United States.
It's a U.S. citizen that got pulled over for speeding
in the United States,
doing 20 miles over the speed limit.
Yes, in the United States.
Okay, that could be fought in court. That you can pay the fine.
Yeah, well, you get due process.
You could because you're an American citizen. You're afforded that.
Okay, yes, but you get due process, correct?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah, if you're an American citizen, you have due process.
Due process.
Yes.
Okay, so now we got that straight.
Right.
Now, if a new president or governor or someone who has some supreme power comes into power in our country or in our state,
like Kamala Harris.
That person.
Oh, you're in New York. You got a communist. You know what's crazy about you, New York? And I gotta go because I
don't live in New York, so it's not going to apply to me.
Oh, you're not in Brooklyn?
No, I was born in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, New York's got a bad memory. You know, it was like there's something that happened over there. You know, I can't.
You don't want to answer questions.
No. I gotta go.
I know you do not want to give direct answers.
No, dude, I could play this and people.
It's not playing games.
No. You're not letting me finish. You're not letting me finish it. Here, look. Let me just say this. Like I told you, I'm gonna have a stream. You should come on the stream later on if you want to.
If you want to talk to me, I'm always open to talk.
Sure. Yeah. No. I would answer you.
Talk if we're not able to actually give direct answers.
Brother. Okay. Let me just tell you this. 9/11 happened on 2001. On 9/11, New York has now nominated a mayor that is a communist, Islam, Muslim extremist supporter. Wrap that around your head. But anyway,
it doesn't matter to me. I'm not in New York. I don't live in New York anymore.
Of course it doesn't matter.
I don't live in New York anymore. I did not vote in that election. I don't live there.
That's cool, man. All right. Well, I live in America, and I just say that, hey, if it's not rigged, then New York, you guys are dumb as fuck. Anyway, I got to bounce, dude.
Okay. Nice avoiding some direct questions.
No, I'm not avoiding, dude. I told you whenever I came in, I'm gonna have a stream starting.
Okay, but I asked you some simple questions.
No, you didn't. You left a whole bunch of stuff out. Trust me. Trust me.
Simple questions. Instead of giving a direct answer, you went, what about Poland?
Can I use this portion of this stream? Can I post it on my channel? Do you mind?
No, I don't mind.
Cool. All right. Just like to ask. Hey, you're welcome to join my channel anytime. And if anybody here wants to come talk shit on my channel, all your little atheist buddies can come and do it. You guys are full of hatred, man. You guys got a lot of hatred over there.
Lupin, I don't hate anyone.
All
I do is
I said you like the people you hang around with. I think you're a good.
I don't hang around with people that hate people.
You got people that hate me, bro. Like they hate me. I'm the one whose name they cannot speak. They hate me so much.
I gotta go, man.
Hey, brother. Hey, brother. I know you don't. I know. I love you, man. You're gonna come back to Christ. Hey, I gotta go, man. I'm gonna keep you in my prayers. I'm gonna keep you in my prayers, man. Hey, if you want to show up on my stream, if you here, you can find me over here. I'm gonna put it in private chat, and then you can put it on.
Well, if I get done with this and you're still on, I'll just go to @LupinWolf.
It's yeah. Just type that in post, if you can post that in your comments. That's the easiest way to find my channel, because if you type in Lupin Wolf or the Wolf Den, you'll never find my channel. But yeah, I'll be live. But yeah, man, hey, it's always good talking to you, man. Trust me, I got all the answers to your questions.
But you don't like to answer them directly.
No, I will answer them directly 100%.
You like to do apologetics, swinging back and forth and all over the place.
If you hate my Lord who loved you and died for your sins, then you hate me.
I don't hate your Lord.
Yeah.
All right. I don't believe in your Lord. He is not my Lord.
Okay. Well, Dark Light Delirium said, "Fuck Jesus. He don't like the Mexicans either, man. That's crazy. You guys are all mixed up in the head. Gotta go, man. Love you. I know that joke went over a lot of y'all's head. Deuce.
See ya." So that was fun. Anyone else want to talk? Of course. I'm open to talk to anybody, including radical fundamentalists. Right? I was frustrated because I was trying to make a point, but if people don't want to go down a road of answering questions directly, it is very difficult to make a point. Right? I hear you, Lost Explorers Guild. It's just the reason I love people is I respect different opinions, right? But it is difficult if you're trying to go down a rational thought process and you ask a question and the question can never be answered for fear of, oh, I don't like the direction this is going. Then, that's rough, because I'll tell you right now, if a Christian asks me a direct question, I'm going to give them a direct answer. And they might disagree with it, and maybe they have an argument around it, but I'm not going to dance around. Right? I'm not going to make believe and pretend I did not hear the question. So if someone asks me a question, I'm going to give a direct answer. And that includes on anything. Doesn't matter. All right? I'm going to give you a direct answer. Yeah. But anyway, let's get back to talking about anything. So anything else anyone wants to talk about? I'm an atheist, agnostic atheist, to be very more specific, right? But if someone asks me about why I'm an atheist, I give them a direct answer. If someone asks me about politics and my opinion on a political issue, I'll give them a direct answer. If someone asks me if a hypothetical question, I'm going to give them a direct answer. Okay. All right. The reason I would do that is I want to be as honest as I can. Intellectual honesty. Okay. That's the point. All right. I cannot think of myself as being intellectual honesty if someone asks a question and I purposely deflect off into another thing. All right. Obviously, I know that I don't want to answer that question, because that question is maybe leading somewhere. Because in order to get people to think, you have to ask questions. And some of those questions lead to an examination of the logic that they are using, right? I mean, I'm going to answer the question, and if it leads me down a road of realizing that I wasn't considering something, then I'm going to say so. I'm going to say, gee, I never thought of it like that. And I get your point. But if I just run away and just say, oh, I'm never going to answer your question directly, it's really silly. It's like me saying, I'm an atheist, I'm an agnostic atheist, and it doesn't matter why, and it doesn't matter, and you're wrong because I say you're wrong. That's not an intellectual discussion. That's evading an intellectual discussion. That's running from an intellectual discussion. And I don't do that. You could come in my chat. You could criticize anything I believe. I don't care because I want to know the truth. So if you ask me a difficult question, I'm going to answer it straight up because I want to know where your thought process is and where my thought process is. And if I'm thinking things completely screwed up, I want to know. I want to know. Hey, Lupin, if you want to come in, only come in if you want to answer questions directly. Not if you want to go some weird direction to try to evade a question. But I don't ask personal questions. They're very direct, and there's a reason I was asking you that. I wanted to know your position on certain key elements to why I think that you're incorrect. All right. I know full well that there are ICE agents capturing people. All right. And they are doing it in an aggressive manner, including women, including even children. Okay. Now, I don't care where you stand on immigration, but if you think that capturing women off the streets in an aggressive way is somehow proving a point, it's ridiculous. Of course it doesn't prove a point, and it doesn't prove anything. In fact, it's just anti-human. It's inhumane. All right. I don't care if the woman came from another country. You're going to grab a woman off the streets with a bunch of masked men holding her down and while she screams and dragging her away and pushing her into a van. And you're going to say, oh, that's good. Give me a break. All right. Even if you're for getting rid of people because you want to get rid of people, even if that's where you're at, please spare me that it has to be done in that way. Right? Because that is wrong. Right? No matter where you stand on immigration, it is wrong to drag women, throw them on the ground, handcuff them, zip tie them, and push them into a vehicle where you take them to a prison. Wrong. Not human, not nice, not good. All right. If I'm right, okay, and a woman robs me on the street, okay, and I'm a very, very dangerous man, and she decides she's going to rob me. So she comes up and she sneaks stuff out of my wallet and she runs away with it. She committed a very bad crime. If I chase her down, do I have the right to push her around? Do I have a right to pick her up and body slam her on the ground? Is that what you actually think? Okay. Because no, I would not do that. You know why I would not do that? Because I'm humane. Okay? Oh man. Hey Gio, how you doing? All right. There's a really basic premise to good justice. Okay. And it's as simple as can be. The punishment should fit the crime. That's as basic as you get. Okay. So, as an example, someone is caught jaywalking in New York City. They committed a crime. All right. They're convicted of that crime with due process, and a court finds that, yes, indeed, they had committed the crime of jaywalking. Should they get the death sentence? I don't think so. All right. I don't think so. And anyone who thinks they should get the death sentence for jaywalking is inhumane. That's inhumane. Okay? And anyone who would think that grabbing women and dragging them to the ground with 5 masked men with guns and throwing them into a van without due process and putting them in prison because they happen to be illegal in this country, that's inhumane. Okay? And it's bullying on top of it all. It's absolutely bullying. Has anyone here watched or seen news where they show women being thrown on the ground and tossed into a van by masked men with guns? Is that going on in America? Please tell me yes or no in the comments. Is that going on in America? And is that an appropriate way to treat a woman who is here illegally? Is that appropriate? Yes or no? This idea that because I have strength, I get to use it on you because you did something wrong to me. And if my strength includes shooting you, that I get to do that because you did something wrong to me. That is not our justice system. That is un-American. You got it, Lost Explorers Guild. That's how I see it. I don't say there's no problem in America with immigration. I think it could be handled better. Right? But I darn well know it's not a very good way to handle it by running through the streets and grabbing people off the streets with guns and weapons and finding your grandma and dragging her into a prison without due process. No, I don't think that's American at all. So I'm on your side on that, Lost Explorers Guild. It's un-American. It's completely un-American. Every single person who was arrested on January 6th got due process. Every single person. We did not grab them for no reason and throw them around and put them in prison. All right. We have a justice system in America. That's how it works here. All right. We have law, and law is important. And when authorities are allowed to grab people, abuse people on the streets, watch as old ladies cry and plead and get tossed around and not be given due process, that is not our justice system. That's tyranny. That's what it is. And you can rename it something else. Oh, that's good. No, that's not good. That's awful and disgusting and despicable. And if you can't even go that far as to say, yes, I understand that's a little bit much, then you're definitely in the world of Toodaloo. I got to read this. Abel, I must read your comment. Can we bippity boppity boop our Colombian girlfriends from the other room in the land of Toodaloo? Interesting. I love the term Toodaloo. For me, it means a little loco, a little psycho, not right, not in their right mind. And yes, I think if a man thinks it's appropriate to grab a little lady and throw her on the ground with a group of 4 other armed men and disgrace and dishonor her, and to throw her into a van and bring her to a prison because she happened to be here illegally, yes, I would think that is Toodaloo. What about this birthright citizenship? Marco Rubio should be thrown out of the country because his parents were not born in America. Marco Rubio, a Cuban American, should be thrown out of the United States because his parents were not born in America. They were not legal citizens when they were in America and had Marco Rubio. Hello. Oh, no, but we can't do that because he's a Trump loyalist, a Trump bootlicker, and we don't want to do that. Yeah, you do. If you don't believe me that Marco Rubio is here because of birthright citizenship, look it up. That's how he is an American. He's an American because of birthright citizenship. So if birthright citizenship is turned, Marco Rubio should be thrown out of the United States. Tell me how that doesn't make sense. Of course it does. But I doubt we're even going to really address that. We're going to pivot on to other things. Let's talk about dudes with dicks. Let's not talk about Marco Rubio and why he is an American citizen. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about dudes with dicks. And somehow, a dude with a dick is very scary to me. Or a woman who becomes a man. Woo, that scares the crap out of me. A man who becomes a woman. Woo, that frightens me. Okay. But ICE agents on the streets dragging people from their work vehicles who are working hard and have done nothing wrong other than being undocumented and illegal in this country, and giving them no due process and dragging them into a vehicle using batons and weaponry. There's nothing wrong with that. That's really cool. That's humane. That's the way we need to run our government. We need to be might rules. I'm stronger than you. Therefore, I get to tell you what to do. Tyranny. And I got news for you. It's not going to work in the long run. Not going to work. All right. There's tens of millions of people who are not going to let that happen in our country because they understand American values. They understand freedom of speech. They understand what it means to have due process. And they understand what real justice is. They understand what justice is. And it's not doing authoritarian regimes that hit the streets with military vests and capturing people who are going to work. That's un-American. And you know, I'm 62, going on 63. I went in plenty of bathrooms. I know people who are women who have went in plenty of bathrooms. Now, I know it must exist because everything happens sometimes. But since when is it a problem of women, like a real problem, that men are going into the bathroom and assaulting them in bathrooms, pretending they are women? Is that really something that is an issue that is important? No. Right? How many times does a man go into a bathroom and assault a man? Happens. Does happen. How many times does a woman go into a bathroom and assault a woman? Happens. But I'm going to worry about that trans person who was a man who is transitioning into being a woman, who goes in the stall, goes to the bathroom, and leaves. Hello. All right. Not much of an issue. Not a big deal. All right. Could it happen that they do some crime in there? Yes. Is it something that's happening on a regular basis? No. Okay. Are drag queens abusing children on a regular basis? No. Are clergy abusing children on a regular basis? Yeah. Kind of. Been many, 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 many cases of that. Systemic cases of that. Cases of that have been going on for decades. But those very bad trans people who went into a bathroom. Oh my gosh. The insanity. The insanity of it all. Gio, I don't know. I don't know, honestly, Gio, how anyone would know who's a man and not a man while using the men's room. I don't know. I know that if I use a men's room and I'm at a urinal, I'm not looking at your junk. And if you are looking at someone else's junk, don't you ask the question, why? Why am I looking at the other person's junk? I'm kind of like a dog. I go out and do my business in the men's room and I leave. And I suppose most people are like that. All right. You go into the bathroom, you do your business, and you leave. That's just the common way that I know it. Man, going into a bathroom, are you a woman or a man? Show me. It really gets crazy. Yeah. The whole might means right thing it just rubs me the wrong way because it's taking away critical thought. It's taking away actually analyzing a situation for what it is and just saying, well, that person has more authority than me, so I guess they're right. That's not how we should be determining right and wrong. Not by who has more power. Right? That, may I dare say, is not what America is built upon. And by the way, thinking about all my years, I have been in men's room when a woman walked in. Imagine that. It's happened. I used to hang out at nightclubs a lot. And once in a while, a woman would go in the wrong bathroom. Did I freak out? Did I flip out? Nope. And I'm sure that men have went into women's room by accident as well. Should the women completely freak out? I don't think so. All right. Give a moment, see what's going on, you know? If any abuse is done, of course it's wrong. If someone does something violent or does something in the way of SA, of course something's wrong. But just the fact that someone went into a bathroom by accident does not make it something terrible. You know, Gio, I was talking to Lupin Wolf about just how I used to, a long time ago, be a strong person physically, much stronger than the average person. And it's only because I lifted weights constantly and I played sports constantly. And I did have a background, not as a professional, but I did amateur boxing. All right. And I was much stronger than the average. Okay. I used to bench 4.25. I had 21-inch arms, natural. And I could push someone and they would kind of fly. And I remember doing that, you know, pushing someone where they'd, you know, go 10 feet away and then walk away because just the strength was more than they had expected. Right. But I was not a decent human being back then. I wasn't the person I am today. I'm a much better person today. And today, I don't rely on any strength, physical power. Oh. All right. I don't do that. In fact, I'm kind of like a pacifist, although I believe a person should be able to use self-defense. Of course. That's only natural. But a lot of these religious fundamentalists and far-right radicals, they seem to equate power with right. Like because someone is powerful or because someone has power, what they say must go. And I don't believe that anymore at all. Right? I've noticed a lot of psychological, small, shallow people who go by this, you know, well, the powerful there, they know more and they get to set all the rules. I don't relate to that at all. Right? I don't relate to that at all. If it was like that, we should have the heavyweight champion of the UFC as president, right? I mean, they could beat everyone up. Right? Right? It's just bizarre. Bizarre. Right? The ability to wield power comes with tremendous responsibility. Tremendous responsibility. If you're going to wield power, you must do it responsibly. And of course, that doesn't include violating other people's human rights. Okay? That is not responsible. That's cruel. And it's inhumane. Yeah. Gio, I agree. If you actually are a reasonable person there definitely is no need to bully people. Okay? Without question, there's no reason that you need to bully anybody. All right. And when you have leadership that are bullies, it's not a good indication of a healthy country. It's not. I would like my political leaders to care about human beings, to put human beings first. And I know that there are some human beings that have to be locked up. I fully understand that. But it's not the lady who came over from the Dominican Republic, who stayed here and was working in the field, and she had a couple of children that she worked very hard to provide for, and she contributes to society, but she never got that full legal status. Nope. That's not a person who needs to be locked up. Hey, Lost Explorers Guild, thanks for stopping by. Always appreciate it. Yeah, I'm trying to build a community here. Certainly not easy, but I'm trying. Committed for the long haul. Thank you. Have a good evening. Yeah, the thing about immigration, everyone in America is an immigrant when you get really deep about it and look at it, right? Everyone. There's no people group other than Native Americans that were here naturally. I mean, that's just a fact, right? So we all in America, unless we're Native Indian Americans, have our ancestry elsewhere. My grandfather came from Italy, and he came over with nothing. And he came over underage. Okay, he wasn't even 18 years old. He was a boy. And he got on a ship and he came to America. And what I have heard was he was quite dirty at the time because he wasn't able to bathe on the ship. And I always remember hearing a story, well, when he arrived, they had to throw him in a shower. All right. And I could understand that because being a long time on a ship without bathing might not be a pleasant odor, right? But Ellis Island, as far as I know, represented welcoming, right? The Statue of Liberty. It represented welcoming people. It wasn't angry at everybody. Okay? And that tone of how we look at it is a major factor. Do we look at poor people coming from another country as evil? Or do we look at them as human beings who might have something good to do here and who might be decent people? And that makes all the difference. How do you look at the immigrant population? Do you look at them as being criminals, murderers, rapists, gang members? Or do we look at them as individuals with their own unique stories? I look at them as individuals with their own unique stories. And what I'm seeing today on the streets of America is not that. It's not that. When they pull over a truck full of people going to do a roof, right? I don't see that as looking at them as individuals. Hey, Gio, always appreciate you coming by. And I always appreciate your help. Thank you. So, when a truck is pulled over with a group of people going out to do roofing, okay, and a group of masked men dressed in military gear run out to the vehicle and drag people out of that vehicle and throw them in a van and bring them to a prison without due process. Is that looking at them as individuals? I don't think so. I don't think so. When we need 4 men in military gear and masks to apprehend a 115-pound woman from Mexico, are we looking at her as an individual? I don't think so. It's sad. Saddens me. Anyway, unless someone else wants to talk, I'm going to cut this and thank everyone who stopped by. Appreciate all of your input. Thanks for coming by, and I hope to see you again next time. Enjoy the evening. Bye.